Lethal Weapon 3 is once again directed by Richard Donner, starring Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Joe Pesci. I just love that Joe Pesci's a running character in the series. I mean, it's so good. So this, again, carries to the third one where they're fully brothers. They're a complete family. Murtaugh and Riggs. Riggs is always at Murtaugh's house, like, doing the laundry and shit like that. There's a running gag throughout the series. In the first one, Mel Gibson runs the police car into Murtaugh's house. A bomb blows up. In the second one, Murtaugh kills two guys with a nail gun. And so they're trying to sell the house, and Joe Pesci plays the realtor. So he's, it's a funny little scene where he's saying everything that's happened in the house. And so with this one, the villain, I gotta be honest, I always kind of forget, like, what the villain does in this one. I mean, there's very memorable scenes in the movie and characters, but I always kind of forget what the character's motivation is. Jack Travis is the main villain's name, so I can clearly remember his name, but I can't remember the villain of the second one, and I like the villain of the Lethal Weapon 2 more. So, and this one is just another solid action movie with really good action sequences. Now, what I love the most about this series, 1, 2, and 3, the first 3 especially, 4 is okay, I might talk about 4 eventually, but the first 3, it is kind of like you can watch any of them out of order, and you might miss a little details, but they really are a bit of a movie on their own. But you do really need to see the others to get the little references and just the evolution of Riggs and Murtaugh's relationship. It's just so good. So what I'm saying is it's basically you're watching this family for 4 years. It's just from beginning of the first one to the end of the third one. It's a solid series. Like, that's how I look at it. It's just one long story that you're just following these characters along. And you get the added character of Renee Russo. So she plays Mel Gibson's love interest. And she's amazing in this one. Like, she's super funny. And she matches his characteristics perfectly. And they do a great thing where they start comparing scars. And it's really funny. But a big thing that I love of the story, it's about gangbangers. About the main guy, Jack Travis, with all his ex-con army, selling guns and drugs to the streets and giving them to these young, like, 16-year-old, or 15 to, like, 18-year-old gangbangers. And there's this horrible scene where Murtaugh has to gun down this gangbanger. But it doesn't start out that way. It starts off, which I feel adds to their relationship, where, this Riggs just kind of going off to have a smoke, and he sees this drug deal happening, and he's like, hey, I'm a cop, and they start shooting at him, and a guy hits him in the neck, so he's hurt. Murtaugh comes in without hesitation. He's protecting Mel Gibson. He just blows away the guy in the shed, and he reveals it's his son's friend. Like, this kid he's known since, like, kindergarten or elementary. That's over playing at his house and shit. So he just has this horrible scene. I mean, the acting in it from Donald Glover is just amazing, where he's cradling this kid and he's just screaming, call 911, we need help. Daryl, don't die on me. I mean, it's just the agony in his voice that, like, what if he did know it was her? Would he try to talk to him, or would he just instinctively just gun him down again? And Mel Gibson is just quietly kind of whispering, Roger, he's dead. He's dead, Roger, he's dead. And it transitions to the funeral scene where him and the whole entire family go there, and he has this beautiful moment with his son where he's helping him tie a tie, and he's like, if you ever need to talk to me, talk to me. It's just so good. And then how the funeral scene where he meets the mother, and the mother, she slaps him, and she's just angry and so full rage that he killed her son, but the father goes, "Detective, what you can do for my family is find the man who put that gun in my son's hand." So it is just like each movie, it really just plays with the characters. And Lethal Weapon 2, or I mean Lethal Weapon 3, this one especially, really plays with Murtaugh. Because the other two are really like Riggs and like Murtaugh eccentric. This one really is kind of a shift on Murtaugh himself. Just kind of what he's dealing with. But it's also extremely building on him and Riggs's relationship. And then you got like Riggs and Rene Russo. Then you got the three of them and Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci's fantastic in this, and just they clearly really do care about Leo, but they just endlessly love to fuck with him. Like he ends up in the hospital, so they sign him up for like a prostate exam and shit like that, and they like sign him up for an enema and all this other shit. And Joe Pesci comes out and he's like, "I didn't think that was what would happen, but hey." It's so good. So this is just a solid action movie, like an awesome installment to the series. Another 5 out of 5.